This is what 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds looks like in the 918 Spyder. Oh my God! Next to me is the Porsche 918 Spyder, a legend that needs no introduction, a member of the Holy Trinity, and the first vehicle ever to run under 7 minutes at the Nürburgring. I've been waiting for this opportunity for the last 10 years and can't wait to show you why this $2 million hypercar is so special. Let's start with the powertrain. At the rear of the 918 Spyder is a naturally aspirated 4.6-liter V8 producing 608 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque. Now, that's a lot of power in its own right, except it has an electric motor in the rear and an electric motor in the front to produce an additional 279 horsepower. All told, 887 horsepower and 994 pound-feet of torque. The result is 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds, 0 to 100 miles an hour in 4.9 seconds, a top speed of 214 miles an hour, and a quarter mile in 10.8. Wow! I mean, listen to that straight-piped V8. Now, back to the engine. Unfortunately, you can't see much. In fact, the only thing you can open without Porsche tools and a Porsche mechanic is this area right here for oil and coolant. But just know the engine is developed and based on the RS Spyder race car. It weighs just 300 pounds and is super low down in the car for better weight distribution. But there's no denying one of the coolest parts of the 918 Spyder is the top-mounted exhaust. Not only is it visually striking, it actually has some engineering advantages as well. It allows for a bigger rear diffuser for more downforce. It's also shorter in its design, so it's lighter weight. But the best part is it's right behind your head, so it absolutely screams when you're on the throttle. The craziest part is this 918 isn't stock. It's got a straight piped exhaust. And that's because Steve Hamilton, owner of this car and the Hamilton collection, is a badass. Seriously, thank you so much, Steve. This is a highlight of my career, being able to review this. If you guys aren't following the Hamilton collection yet, I've got links to their Instagram as well as their YouTube channel. They've got an insane car collection. They donate all the revenue to charity. They do some really cool stuff. So it'd mean the world to me if you guys could go subscribe to them and follow them on Instagram. The side profile of the 918 is drop dead gorgeous. It's unbelievable in its design, but everything is functional and has a purpose. Let's start with these wheels. These are made of magnesium because they're super lightweight and super strong. It would have cost you $33,000 as an option from Porsche from the factory. Now you can save money by getting the $85,000 Weissach package, which this has. We'll talk about that more in a bit. But if you were to buy these new, let's say you curbed them and needed some new ones, Porsche charges 50 grand without tires. Unbelievable. Now, another cool thing is these are center lock wheels inspired by race cars. You'll notice on the passenger side, they're blue, but on the driver's side, they're actually red. The air intake to feed that 4.6-liter V8 is absolutely massive. And it's funny, this is the third Porsche hypercar. We had the 959, then the Carrera GT, and now this. And the 959's air vent was about the size of my fist. Then the Carrera GT got a little bigger, and then this, you could almost fit your whole body in it. Another cool design element, this right here, a little carbon fiber add-on right here. This allows turbulent airflow to fly out of the wheel well. For some reason, they needed additional carbon fiber, which I think is awesome. You'll also notice this is not where you put gas in the car. It says e-Power. It's a plug-in hybrid. This is where you charge it, and you can even drive it in all-electric mode. How incredible is this? I'm in the 918 Spyder in E-mode right now, fully electric. This can go up to 12 miles on just the battery power alone. Now, I know that's not all that much, but the P1 can only go about 7 to 8 miles, so you got that advantage over the P1. The front of the 918 is classy and takes styling cues from the 911 and the Carrera GT. Now, plain and simple, it's not as crazy looking as the P1 or the LaFerrari. It seems like the more civilized and classy option. Although in the spec with the Weissach package, it still looks like a multi-million-dollar car. New, this would have set you back $850K as the base price, obviously Weissach on top of that. Now you're looking at over $2 million. The easiest way to tell a Weissach package car from a normal 918 are these fins at the back right here. So what is the Weissach package? It'll cost you 85 grand, shaves 90 pounds of weight off the 918 for a curb weight of 3,600 pounds. You get those magnesium wheels, that saves 30 pounds of unsprung mass. You also get a carbon fiber roof, carbon fiber windshield surrounds. This car isn't actually painted. It's actually wrapped from the factory by Porsche instead of paint to save 5 pounds. How ridiculous is that? We've also got this massive wing that of course comes on the standard 918 that's operable from the interior. Speaking of which, let's go inside. The interior of the 918 is surprisingly nice for a track-focused hypercar. We've got leather and carbon fiber everywhere, and there's actually a impressive amount of tech in here, especially for a car that came out in 2013. Let's start with the steering wheel. First up, the steering wheel in the 918 is absolutely incredible. Feels great in your hands, 7-speed dual-clutch PDK, so we've got paddles mounted behind it. If we look at the left side of the steering wheel, we've got cruise control. M is for manual mode for the gearbox. This diamond is actually called the Joker button and can be customized for this infotainment screen right here to do whatever you want, some shortcuts. We've got the climate control down here. Everything is touchscreen on this beautiful glass display. We've got a nice display up here as well. When you put it into comfort or sport suspension, we've got a nice graphic up there. Now, coming around to the other side of the steering wheel, we are in E mode right now. So I can go ahead and drive, make no noise in all electric power. Now, if we go to H, that's hybrid mode. It's gonna be a combination of electric and gasoline motor. Sometimes the gas engine turns off to get optimal fuel economy. I don't know why you'd ever use that. Then we've got sport mode, obviously sportier response. Race mode, even more responsive than that. And hot lap mode, which gives you the full beans. We've got 3 really nice analog gauges with some digital displays in them as well. Right here, it'll actually show you regeneration of your electric power under braking. Here it shows the charge, and that is your gas right there. Off we go. Oh my. Oh my gosh. The 918 already sounds insane, but with a straight piped V8, this thing is glorious. And a 9,000 RPM redline. The shifts are instantaneous. And that soundtrack is just so incredible. I think one of the coolest things that Porsche did with this car is not add the electric powertrain in order to make it some environmentally friendly green car that gets better fuel economy. No, the electric powertrain is purely for performance. So we've got razor sharp response of the naturally aspirated V8, and then we have instantaneous response from the 2 electric motors. Combine that with all-wheel drive, a 3,600 pound curb weight, which really isn't that much for a hybrid vehicle. And it's ballistic, 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds, a top speed of 214 miles an hour, 6 minutes and 57 seconds around the Nürburgring. It really doesn't get much crazier than that. Before ever driving a 918, I figured it'd feel more civilized, more refined, kind of like a Turbo S with a V8, as compared to the P1 or the LaFerrari, but that couldn't be further from the truth. This thing is so raw. You feel every bump in the car, even in the normal suspension mode, it's super jarring. You hear all of the sounds. The steering feel is just absolutely incredible. And while it was a bit intimidating to drive at first, obviously being a $2 million plus vehicle, you quickly become comfortable with it. Because of that all-wheel drive system, you know you've got that added grip. You're not gonna fishtail and spin out like you might in a LaFerrari. But seriously, the frontal visibility, the side visibility is actually really, really good. Your seating position is high up so you can see over that hood, positioning the car on the road like a go-kart, and truly, anyone could drive the 918. You don't have to be a professional driver to be worried about driving this car whatsoever, and I think that is really, really cool. Prior to driving this car, I would have picked a P1 or a LaFerrari any day over the 918, just based on looks alone and then the sound of the LaFerrari. But after driving this, it really has my head spinning. When people ask me, what's the best car you've ever driven or reviewed, I usually say either the P1 or a Koenigsegg Agera RS. But now I'm not so sure. This thing is giving both of those cars a run for its money. All right, let's downshift a couple more times. Oh my gosh. Listen to that. Wow. Oh my God, this thing is fast. unbelievable. All of the benefits of an electric car in terms of its instantaneous response, with all of the benefits of an internal combustion engine car with one of the best sounding V8s of all time. This thing is an absolute joy to drive. It's got a good speaker system as well. Now, one thing, the only thing I don't like about the 918, it's literally the only thing, is that the seats are a little bit too upright for me. Now, I think it might be possible that you can adjust that. I honestly don't know. But in its current setup, and I've heard one other person talk about this on a review, that the seats are really vertical and you can't control the bucket seat tilt whatsoever. But other than that, I mean, man, the steering is as perfect as it gets. The visibility, it's less intimidating than I thought. It's a Porsche, it's got that going for it, and it's just an absolutely brilliant experience. Once again, special thanks to the Hamilton Collection for making this video possible. This was one of the greatest days of all time. I'm in love with this car. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.